This is going to be the enthronement of the Vajra Regent, the Dorje Gyaltsap of Tara Mandala. And this is an important moment because if there's no Gyaltsap, there's no continuity for the Sangha, for the center. So, see, we have continuity. So I thought I'd first ask us to generate bodhicitta for the ceremony. That's the heart of enlightenment, the heart toward enlightenment. Generate the thought that this ceremony ensues, brings forth bodhicitta in ourselves and in Tulku Osel Dorje, and that it's governed by bodhicitta. Thank you. So he's my third child. He's actually a twin, but he came third. So I did have 4 children, and so he was a twin. He lost his sister at 2.5 months, Chiara, and that was in Italy. He was born in Rome and raised in Rome until he was 6. And we were very much a part of the community of Chogyal Namkhe Norbu Rinpoche, and all of our vacations were spent there. And he developed quite a close relationship with Namkhe Norbu Rinpoche. And they played together a lot. And at one point, Rinpoche said to me, you know, I've had some dreams about your son. And he said they were important dreams, but he never told me what they were. But the way he told me, I remembered it afterwards. And so he was really wild as a child, considered ADD by teachers, and I never really felt he was. I just felt he was bored and wanted to be more active than sitting at a desk. So grew up in Waldorf school, and then we lived in Italy until he was 6, then came back and lived in New York, outside New York City, in an old farmhouse on a lake. And around that time, I started to notice that he seemed to know all the mudras, and he really liked to be in practice situations, and especially when the soak was served. He seemed to have like an inner alarm that would go off when soak was about to be served. But honestly, I really didn't think he was spiritual because he was so wild. And so I just was, you know, I just, you know, this is my son. It wasn't like I thought that he would be a lineage holder or follow the Dharma. I just hoped he'd be okay. And then when he was 12, we went to Nepal together with Dave, and Tulku Osel Rinpoche gave Nature of Mind pointing out instruction. He's the father of Mingyur Rinpoche and Tsoni Rinpoche and also Chukyinima Rinpoche. So great Lama. And it was a big group. It was Namkhe Norbu's students, probably 250 of us there. And Tulku Osel held up an amber mala. and the light was coming through it. And he said, awareness is like the thread that goes through this. And all the events in our lives are like the beads. That thread is always there. And he, of course, said more than that. And then afterwards, he said to me, I got that. I understood what he was saying. And I was really surprised. He was 12. But again, I was like, well, he's not spiritual. So I just wasn't thinking to train him or anything. But he went on. He went to college and studied science. And in college, he really got excited about what he was studying. And he entered into the field of microbiology and was heading on to graduate school and then to a PhD in microbiology. And then I went into retreat for a year in 2001. And during that year, he had some experiences that turned his mind to the Dharma. And he came to me in retreat and he said, will you teach me? And I showed him the rock that Ajahn Pelo Rinpoche had imprinted his thumb into, like it was butter. And as a scientist, he knew what would have to happen for that to happen. So it's like a thumbprint that goes in, and you can even see the whorls like it was butter. So at that time, Ajahn Rinpoche was here. And he said, will you teach me? And I said, I'm your mother. I can't be your teacher. But ask Ajahn Rinpoche. And so Ajahn Rinpoche gave him refuge, vows. So he would have been 20, 21 at that time. And said, practice compassion for a year and then come back. And so he did. And then at that time, Ajahn Rinpoche was coming regularly every year. And so the next year he gave him Nundro. And that's when he started doing retreats. So he did first a month, then 3 months, and then a year. And then another year and 8 months or something. And anyway, it went on. In his 20s, he was just constantly going into retreat. His sisters were mad because he missed all the family gatherings. Like, he never comes. He's in retreat. Well, so what? But anyway, Dave was really key in his retreats because Dave served them. He shopped for him. And I was often gone, teaching or busy with something, but Dave was always, picking up his list every week and buying his food and then putting it in the box for him. And they also started, once in a while, Dave would go visit him, and they would talk about Dharma, and they were practicing similar practices at that point. So during that time, when he was in retreat, he did 5 Nundros, 5 complete Nundros. And also he did the Yidam practices, he did Salung, and then he received Treksha and Togel. And so somebody said, why did you do 5 Nundros? Isn't one enough? And he said that he had read, I think it was Lobchenpa, who was it? Dingo Khyentse Rinpoche said, these are degenerate times, you need to do 5 Nundros because of these times. So he did. And he did complete Nundros, so he did 500,000 prostrations and so on. So this was really amazing to me. I kept thinking, he'll probably lose interest pretty soon, get back to school, normal life, and he didn't. He just kept going. And so he was in that process of going into retreat, coming out, and so on, around the time when David passed away. He wasn't in retreat at that time. He was in Tibet. And he was there secretly. And he was with his teacher there. And he was supposed to stay for 20 more days. And then Rinpoche called him in and said, get ready to go. He was like, why? I'm supposed to still stay for 20 days. He said, get ready to go, and what teachings do you want to receive? So he told him everything he wanted, and Rinpoche just gave him everything. And then said, basically, pack up. And then the morning of the night that David passed away, Ajahn Rinpoche met him. And he had said to him before, when Ajahn Rinpoche was here, he said, I'm going to help you in the bardo. And so when he passed away, he went to Ajahn Rinpoche. And so Ajahn Rinpoche woke up that morning and did poa. And a nun that was serving him said to Osel Dorji, that's strange. Why did he do poa? Nobody called. Because usually people would call and then they do it. And then he called Osel Dorji, who was upstairs down, and he said, David's time is up. Dutsu Sarson. His time is up. And Ka said, oh, he's going to die, so I should go back. And he said, no, Sarson, it's finished. And I remember Osel Dorji said to me, it's the only time I haven't believed Ajahn Rinpoche. And then I went upstairs and I sat and I looked out this little window, and I remembered the dream that I'd had, that David had come to me that night before and said, and Kaz was in his cabin in a dream, and David had said, I just wanted to say thank you. And Osel Dorji said, no, I want to thank you, because you served my retreat, you took care of me. And David said, no, it's my time to thank you. And they had talked a lot about practice, about Togyal, because they were both doing Togyal. And then David said to him in the dream, but the 5 lights, they're so bright. And like he was kind of shocked. The 5 lights are so bright. And then in the dream he responded, it's just your own mind. And then David said, oh yeah, I forgot. Thank you. And then he walked away and up this path that is near the cabin. And so then he remembered this dream, and then he went, oh, maybe he really did pass away. And then he felt so bad he hadn't believed Ajahn Rinpoche, but he didn't want to believe him. And so he left. Basically, the next day, there were lots of discussions about, who was going to drive him because it was dangerous, and what he should wear. Anyway, it would make a great movie, this escape. But anyway, he got here from there. How many hours was it?
24.
Yeah, 24 hours from the middle of Tibet to here. Not in Chengdu, middle of Tibet. And so it all lined up. And so he got here after the cremation, but in time to go through the bones. When we went through the ashes, he was cremated here and took out the bones together. And then he stayed here for 2 years and did the land manager job that Dave had done. And he had a vision of Dave also when he was driving back, and in the car. And Dave used to always say, when he didn't want to do something, he'd say to him, "You're all over it, cause." And we always have problems, as Clifton knows, like people get stuck in the middle of the winter at midnight, they come and wake you up, I'm stuck, you know, those kind of things. Or the plumbing breaks, or the water's shooting all over the place. And so Dave would say to him, "You're all over it, cause." And so Dave appeared to him and said, "You're all over it, cause." And so he's like, "Mom, I'm going to man up. I'm going to man up and support you now." And so he did. And really over the funeral pyre, I always think he met Katie. He'd met her before, but I mean, met her. And so that was a nice thing for them, you know, to have each other in that time. And then they went to Nepal. He wanted to be able to learn Tibetan, to be able to speak to Adzam Rinpoche himself, and ended up actually staying there for 7 years and getting a master's in Buddhist philosophy. And now he's on a PhD track in Buddhist philosophy, and also continued his relationship with Adzam Rinpoche, and also he has studied with Sanak Rinpoche quite a bit. When Sanak Rinpoche would come here, so those are his two main teachers who have supported him and taught him. And he's also, in the 7 years, done these pilgrimages. When Katie was pregnant with Bodhi, I mean, I always, I never would have allowed this as a pregnant wife. He went on a 4-month, very dangerous Chut pilgrimage and walked from Ladakh to India, over the mountains to Manali from Ladakh, and did Chut in 108 cemeteries. But it was dangerous, and he almost died several times, but he didn't, obviously. And so he had these ideas of things he wants to do, and these certain pilgrimage places he wants to go to. So he'd gone to these very remote Guru Rinpoche caves in Ladakh and other places. And so he's done that since getting married. And so they got married here. What was the date of that? There were several. Yeah. It was 2012? Yeah. April 5th, 2012. So, yeah, they got married here. They got married on Anakajati, just with each other. And then we had a big reception. It was wonderful. So he has, in terms of his qualifications, if he wasn't my son, he would still have all the qualifications to be the Dorje Gyaltsab. And I think that was important for him also. He can speak for himself, but I think he didn't want it, it's like nepotism, like he needed to do all the practice, do the study, really have the qualifications to teach and to lead. And so he's done that. And now it feels like time for him to, he's kind of been in the background, coming now and then, but not really out. And Azam Rinpoche is also really saying you need to start teaching. And Azam Rinpoche also enthroned him this year, recognized him when he was 24, 23. Recognized him when he was 23, said it would create obstacles if he was recognized publicly at that time, and to just keep it quiet, and so that it's a long time now. From now he's 39, so many years since he was recognized, and then this year Azam Rinpoche said it's time. And that happened. And so I felt like, well, yeah, that happened there, but nothing's happened here. And so I think it's time that he takes his seat here. And so that was the impetus for today. And we're in Drubchen. It's an obvious blessed time. And Drupal Lama Karma is here as well, and Lama Jerme, who's been all the time very close to David and also to our family, is here. So this natural gathering took place. It's the last day before we take the cities. So it just sort of arose. Yesterday I had this idea, and that's how things are here. They arise, and it's the right time. And so we just pull it together somehow. And so now, having spoken a little bit about his background, we'll make the formal offerings to him as Dorji Gyaltsap. And Lopan Chandra will be leading that group. And the Lama is also making the mandala offerings. So now is the time for the Lamas to come forward to do the mandala. And we need the mandala.
Om Benja Bhumi Ahum Shiyon Sudapa Wanshen Segi Sashi Om Benja Reke Ahum Chichag Riko Yogi Kowe Usuhum Ri Gyapo Ri Rab Sha Lupapo Lo Zambulin Nu Balanche Chan Jaminyen Lu Dan Lupa Ngayab Dan Ngayab Shen Yoden Dan Lam Chojo Jami Dan Yen Dan Jami Nyengi Da Rinpoche Riwo Pasam Gishing Jeba Mamu Peloto Kolo Rinpoche, Nobu Rinpoche, Sumo Rinpoche, Lumpo Rinpoche, Lampo Rinpoche, Tacho Rinpoche, Mapu Rinpoche, Techimpo Bumpa, Gepama, Chenwama, Luma, Karma, Metoma, Dupoma, Nanselma, Chichama, Nima Dawa Rinpoche Du Chole Nampa Gyawe Gyaltsen Fladami Peljo Punsum Sopa Matsangwa Me Padini Tsawa Dan Gyupa Jepe Pelden Lama Dampa Namdan Yidan Kyoko Hlatso Sangye Chanchu Sempe Sotan Chepa Namla Ubangio Tuje Joe Dundu She Suso Shene Jingi Lab Tu So Sashi Puchu Junshi Meto Cham Rira Blinji Nide Gempadi Sangye Jindu Mete Puwai Joko Namda Jin La Chipasho Idam Guru Rana Mandala Kam Niryatayami Tenjo Tsu Genje Tsu Lama La sa tsempe nan yen di pu we gang ku ke pa gyam so so je pe ge tse nan wa ta tu pa gyu shi she chon ye je chun lama la ye we chu ke den to ji pu we gan tu ton da nin je sun chu pe ji pe da su chu la la pa yun te me jun je chun lama la du gu zhou wei bon zhan di pu wei jia me noi bu re ko je du so sa sun zhou wei re kon je du chen le ta ye je chun lama la na zo do je cha cha di pu wei gan du pen dan de wei zi pa chuo ta jin kya dan lung gi zhup gyu chi Janada kini sedi palahum Om Hari Nisa Janada kini sedi palahum
And thanks to everyone online who's been participating from the etheric realm. Wonderful that you could witness this. This is a very important moment for Tara Mandala. It's a historic moment. You were all here when it happened, and you were all online when it happened. So it's been witnessed. And it's the right time, it's the right place, it's the right Sangha, it's the right practice, and it's all an expression of our luminosity. So now I wanted to just say a little bit more about Katie, because I didn't really mention her very much. She's the hidden Tulku. She was the director here for 5 years, and that was a very difficult time. Also losing Dave, and just, the early days were hard. We know we're always struggling for money and for just survival. Water, the weather, we didn't have buildings and so on. So Katie was amazing. She came out of Key West Sangha, and she was a captain. So he called her Captain Katie. She was captain of a boat, and she sold islands. That's what she said when I said, "What did you do there?" And she said, "I sold islands." So she had a boat, and she'd take people out to the keys, these little islands, and sell them, I guess. Sell some of them anyway. So Katie was amazing through that whole time, and I always say he stole her from me because he did. And but it's been a really wonderful partnership, and really in some ways just getting started, even though it's been almost 10 years now. So, and they have these beautiful boys, these beautiful luminous beings that they have brought down together and brought to us. And so I just wanted to mention her more than just that they met, because I've noticed that often entire biographies of lamas are written, and the wife and the mother of the children isn't even mentioned. And that's a big part of their life, and I don't think that's okay. So I'm mentioning it. And now, Tulku Osel will say a few words. You need a mic? He's going to say, actually, I was really well behaved as a child. Wasn't wild.
Wow. Thank you, everyone. And, my mom's always said to me that really ceremony is so important, and that it helps bring something to life. And so I see that. And I appreciate you really having taught me the importance of ceremony in my life. Although as children we did not appreciate it. As an adult, I really have come to really appreciate it. And that's on wrong? Like this? Okay. Is that better? Thank you for trusting me to do this and to help bring your vision forward with you. It means a lot. We moved here when I was 13 to Pagosa, and Tara Mandala has been part of my life ever since. And it's amazing to think that 25 years has passed. And just thinking back, when this was being organized earlier, I was upstairs looking at photo albums, old photo albums. And there was one from 2002 when I took refuge with you. And I was just thinking, oh, life has gone a very different direction than I thought it was going at that point. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful that it has. And this is Bodhi. And I was part of the family retreat as a kid. I did Vision Quest on this land, several of them. And I did all my retreat here on Tara Mandala. And I think anybody who has come here or is here really knows how amazing this land is. And that really it is a ne, or a power place of Tara, as Azam Rinpoche had in his vision. And that really we are so blessed to have this in our lives and in the world. And I really am grateful to Lama Tsultrim for have had the vision to bring something like this into the world. And it's extraordinary. There's really nothing like this anywhere else in the West. And really, in many ways, we've just begun, although it's 25 years. And we started out in teepees, and then yurts, then toilets came, outdoor showers, which I still miss. But it's really, Tara Mandala has grown and matured, and it's extraordinary. It's unbelievable. And but I really feel that although we also rejoice in Tara Mandala, I feel that the Hla, the land spirits, are also rejoicing. And I always felt like when I was in retreat that whenever I was completing something or some signs needed, should appear externally, the land was always there, ready to support. And I just really felt like it was really just the untouched nature of this place that we are still able to have that relationship with the land, with the spirits, and that they're here supporting us also in our practice. And there was one vision, but it's taken so many people to manifest this mandala. And I'm really honored and grateful to be part of it. And I hope that in the future we can work together to continue to preserve and realize the Dharma. That is my aspiration.
So now Tulku Osel is enthroned as Dorje Gyaltsab, Vajra Regent of Tara Mandala. And so at least here we will call him Tulku Osel, although I slip up all the time. But the name change is also important. I know when I became a nun and I changed my name, I noticed it's a different thing, because you've always been called something your whole life. And the name, has a lot of associations. And then when the name changes, it's always a reminder of what gave you that name. And also, if that doesn't feel right to you, then that's fine too. But we'll use it in certain circumstances. I know that he's a little resistant to that, but I do think it's important in terms of taking his seat and also in his enthronement as a tulku, that it's we use it. Osel Dorje is also connected to Osel Ningtik, this cycle from Azampela Rinpoche. So it's a really special name. I remember when Azam Rinpoche gave him the name, he said, "Oh, I'm gonna take this name like a terma. I'm gonna pull it like a terma," and then he gave him that name, Osel Dorje. So now we've completed this part of our ceremony, and so we'll continue on with the tsok. And as partly now a celebration, we'll offer tsok, and also as part of our Drubchen, what we do every day.